World records can often bring out the best and the weirdest in people. Consider, for instance, Sonia Thomas, who successfully slurped down 564 oysters in under 8 minutes. Seriously, that's like 70 a minute? The Guinness Book of World Records has stopped recognizing records that rely solely on gluttony or people pushing themselves to extremes that could negatively affect their health. But most people would agree that the body we are born into is something that we have very little control over. And today we're going to take a moment to appreciate those among us with record-breaking body parts. This is the 10 longest body parts in the world. Let's begin, shall we? Number 1. Jonah Adam Falcon. Jonah Adam Falcon may not be the most successful on today's list, but he does have another claim to fame that has garnered him quite a lot of attention. Falcon is the host of Talkin' Yankees, an hour-long cable television call-in show dedicated to happenings in the New York Yankees ball club. But he rose to national attention in 1999 after it was determined that he had a 13.5-inch, the Brooklyn native has been the subject of several TV specials, including Showtime's Unhung Hero, HBO's Private and Exposed, and TLC's Strange. The 13-year-old in me is giggling so madly right now. He also had smaller roles in Melrose Place, The Sopranos, Law & Order, and the 2001 drama A Beautiful Mind. Despite his multiple appearances in media, things haven't always been easy for Falcon, who lives on and off with his mother in New York. In a 2003 interview with Out magazine, he revealed that he is in fact bisexual, and that his longest relationship was with a woman and lasted for just 1 year. When he isn't in a committed relationship, Falcon has been propositioned many times for a unique project relating to his oversized member, including a photographer who paid him $500 to pose in his underwear. What even is this list anymore? While there may be some obvious career paths associated with his larger-than-life body part, Falcon has been adamant about not working in the adult industry because he wants to be taken seriously as an actor and fears that such a move would jeopardize his chances at a legitimate acting career. And you know, sir, I support you. Number 2. 2 people, actually. A California YouTuber named Chanel Tapper has a tongue roughly the size of an iPhone. Her nearly 4-inch tongue was deemed the world's longest by Guinness in 2013. The world's longest male tongue belongs to Nick Storbill and is a respectable 10.1 centimeters or 3.98 inches. Number 3. Robert Pershing Wadlow. The largest hands in the world belong to Robert Wadlow, who was also the world's tallest man until his death at the age of 22 in 1940. Also known as the Illinois Giant, his gigantic hands measure 12.75 inches or 32.3 centimeters from the wrist to the tip of his middle finger. The world's largest hands on a living person are currently 28.5 centimeters and belong to a man named Sultan Kosan in Turkey. Number 4. Matthew McRory. Matthew McRory was an American actor who, among other things, had roles in Men in Black 2, House of a Thousand Corpses, Charmed, and The Devil's Rejects. But perhaps what made McRory most memorable was his enormous presence. No, really, he was massive. McRory stood at a towering 7 feet 6 inches and held the distinction of walking on the world's biggest feet. McRory wears a men's shoe size 29.5. Dude was even bigger than Andre the Giant. Sadly though, McRory died in 2005 at the age of 32. A friendly giant, he was loved by those who work with him, and both The Devil's Rejects and 2017's The Evil Within were dedicated to his memory. The current holder of the world's largest foot record, at least for men's, is Venezuela's Jason Orlando Rodriguez Hernandez, who as of 2016 had a right foot measuring 40.1 centimeters or 1.31 feet long. Number 5. Hans Langseth. Next up, we have a different type of hair record. These days, beards are a hot fashion accessory, but believe it or not, the longest beard in history isn't attached to a modern-day hipster. And no, it doesn't belong to one of the members of ZZ Top either. No, it rather belonged to a man named Hans N. Langseth. Langseth was born in 1846 and died in 1927 at age 81. A farmer from Norway at the time of his death, his beard measured 17.5 feet, or 5.3 meters, making it the longest beard in recorded history. Today, his beard sits at the Department of Anthropology at the Smithsonian Institution. When one beard is gone, another is grown. That's a saying, am I right? Anyways, currently the longest beard on a living person belongs to Sarwan Singh of Canada, who first had his bountiful beard measured for the Italian TV show Lo Che de Record on March 4th, 2010. There, officials concluded it was 7 feet 9 inches long. The following year, in Surrey, British Columbia, Canada, his beard was remeasured and was determined to be 8 feet 2 inches long. Number 6. Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping was born in China in 1960, and at the age of 13, she made a decision to never cut her hair again. And she stuck by her guns. So much so that in 2004, the Guinness Book of World Records declared that she had the longest documented hair in recorded history. Her long, lavish locks were documented at a length of 18 feet and 5.5 inches, or 5.62 meters. It seems like all that hair would be a pain to carry around, but when asked, Jinping said, quote, "It's no trouble at all. I'm used to it, but you need patience and you need to hold yourself straight when you have hair like this." Number 7. Lee Redmond and Sridhar Chilal. Lee Redmond was once a well-known feature on the talk show circuit. She had started growing her nails in 1978, and by 2008, she had grown them to an average length of 35 inches or 88 centimeters. In fact, all her nails laid end to end would be almost 25 feet. Unfortunately, in February of 2009, she was involved in a tragic accident that not only left her seriously injured, but also destroyed her famous fingernails. Now, while there was nobody there to snatch her title of world's longest nails, at least no one with as many nails as she had, but there was Sridhar Chilal. Chilal had been growing the nails on his left hand for over 6 decades, and with no two-handed opponents to dethrone him, he became the owner of the longest nails in the world. For Chilal, though, having the world's longest nails came at a price. The profound weight of his nails, which if laid end to end were over 30 feet long, began to take a toll on his health, and he started to face increased difficulty moving his hand and suffered disfigurement of his fingers. What's even worse is that the damage to his hand resulted in nerve damage, which eventually rendered him deaf in his left ear. Finally, he had to concede and his nails were cut off in 2018 using a specialized power tool, and they are now on display at the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum in New York City. As of current, there is no one with nails that can compete with Redmond or Chilal, so if you happen to have 30-foot long nails, it may just be your time for your 15 minutes of fame there, slugger. Number 8. Macy Curran. Yekaterina Lysina is a former basketball player and model from Penza Oblast, Russia, but she is renowned not for her athletic prowess, but of her unique physical attributes. Lysina not only has the biggest feet of any woman in Russia, but she also has the longest legs in the world. That was until September of 2019 when a 16-year-old girl came along to snag her title. Macy Curran of Austin, Texas is a young girl who by the age of 18 months was already 2 feet 11 inches tall, and by the time she was 9 she was 5 feet 7 inches tall, and it was apparent to everyone that she was going to be quite a lot taller than her peers. Her extreme growth continued, and by the age of 16 she had reached a height of 6 feet 9 inches tall. However, the tallest woman in the world was Sandy Allen, who stood at a height of 7 feet 7 inches, and even though she was growing rapidly, she was a far cry from 7 foot 7. However, as it turned out, her specific proportions meant that even though she wasn't the tallest woman in the world, she actually had the longest legs. Curran's legs were a shocking 53 inches, and that's a 1.3 meter or almost 4.5 feet. Curran's height, however, has presented some challenges for her. In her own words, she says, quote, "When I stopped growing in 9th grade, I was really relieved, because when I was younger, I'd get those growing pains in my legs that were so terrible." She also expressed trouble with hitting her head on doors, getting into cars, and trying to find clothes that fit. Despite the challenges associated with her height, Curran hopes to make the best of it, and has her eyes set on a career in modeling. As for Yekaterina Lysina, she might not have the longest legs anymore, but she is still the proud owner of the largest female feet in Russia, so there's something for that. Number 9. Mehmet Özürek. Mehmet Özürek of Turkey holds the distinction of having the world's longest nose. His record was first authenticated on March 18, 2010, and to this day, no one has stepped up to take his place. So, just how big is the world's biggest schnoz? Well, when it was measured in 2010, it had reached a length of 8.8 centimeters or 3.55 inches. Unlike some of the other entries on today's list, this record wasn't personally measured by Guinness. Instead, Özürek traveled to Rome, Italy to appear on Le Show des Records, or the record show, on March 18th of 2010. Number 10. Radhakant Bajipay. An Indian grocer named Radhakant Bajipay is the owner of a rather bizarre world record. In 2003, Guinness World Records flew to Uttar Pradesh in northern India to authenticate him as the owner of the world's longest ear hair. Ew. While most people have to begin grooming their ear hair after a certain age, Bajipay has chosen to let his grow free, and when officials took their measurements in 2003, it had achieved a length of 13.2 centimeters. However, much like the champ that he is, even after getting the official record, Bajipe continued to grow it out. He admits that at times his wife has urged him to cut it, but she says she is understanding of the fact that his earlocks are a source of pride for him. Bajipe continued taking very good care of the hair, and in 2009 he had Guinness reevaluate his record, and they realized that the hair had grown an astounding 25 centimeters in length. Which one of the body parts on today's list did you find the most shocking? Do you have any abnormally long body parts? If so, please keep them to yourself. I don't think we want to know, actually. With all that said and done, that's our video for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time. Later, everybody.